It's mailbag time with non-copyrighted music.
An update. When I opened this up, probably a couple of weeks ago now, one of the comments below was, can you use this for data or is it just for power? Wasn't really thinking about that at the time. Always got it for charging, not for data. In fact, I wonder what would happen if you... Well, I've plugged in individual devices, but what would happen if you plugged in an Apple device and an Android device? Worlds collide. The fanboys would go crazy. But it makes sense that they don't sort of talk at the same time. So this particular cable is only for charging. One other thing which we didn't see at the time, and I'll just plug this in now. Can I plug this in? Yep. And that's orange as well, isn't that nice? Everything's orange. And when I give it some juice, look at that. Lovely little LEDs in there. I mean, totally unnecessary. Probably adding an extra 30 seconds to the charge cycle, but well worth it. I use this with a 5-volt 3 amp or 5-volt, I think it's actually 5-volt 5 amp wall wart, little power supply DC converter, and that works pretty well to charge up. I've had 3 devices on here and they all charge pretty quickly. So I'm still saying that this is a win, but definitely no data between this end, and that sort of makes sense. Sometimes I have no idea what's inside these packets. This one, I'm pretty sure I know what it is from its shape. I think it's got to do with solar panels and maybe headlights as well. Yes, so it says car lamp recover emulsion, removal of yellowing. Tasmania's a funny place, it has a reputation as being cold and horrible. It isn't, although we're happy to have the reputation. What we do have is very high UV. Let me see if I've got, oh yeah, okay, this guy, let me just put this one in here. Yeah, so if you look at this, oh, what was that? Don't know what that was, something clunked. But you can see here what's happened with the blurring on the actual solar panel itself. And, over time, I guess that does degrade performance. Also, I've got some car headlights on one particular car that look pretty similar. And again, you really don't want that when you are looking for the best performance. And so I thought, well, maybe some of this stuff would be useful. Yeah, shall we give it a try? So it's even got its own applicator, which is interesting. I'm not sure what's in it. It says, do not drink. That's good advice. Don't put it in the eyes, which is also good. Yeah, so mystery elements. I have used some childproof, I guess. I have used some, commercial preparations here. There's a thing called WD-40, which is supposed to be good for deglazing. There's some other. I'll use some Canubra wax from time to time for the same. Let's see how this goes. So it is an emulsion, quite thick, a little toothpastey. I guess you could use toothpaste as well. I just don't want it to be too abrasive. So we'll try it on here and see if it helps. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So let's have a look at what the recommendation is. It just says, sorry, dipped out. Yeah, so it just says apply with a sponge and wipe for 4 minutes, and then wait 5 minutes, and finally clean the car lights with water. All right, I'll get back to you. Well, the moment of truth, I suppose. I'm not sure I'm going to be using this. That was within the first minute. So I've actually had to wind down the amount of rubbing using this sponge. But I do have a microfiber cloth, so I guess I could. It's been, the required 8 minutes afterwards. So we could see now and see if that's... Actually, that does look pretty good. Yeah, let me clean this up a little bit, but I think that has made quite a difference to that, which should mean the efficiency is better as well. I guess also what I'll do is I'll try it on the lights, the headlights, and see if that makes a difference as well. God knows what's in it. Probably should be wearing gloves. Who knows? But anyway, that seems to be a winner. Okie-doke. Sometimes these packages have got packages inside the packages, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of drop shipping going on. What on earth is this? We have, ESP32s. What variety, I don't know. But I wonder if we can get one out. I don't really want to get one out because I'm torturing a couple at the moment and I just need some replacements. I think these are standard ESP32s. I can't pick anything up on that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just standard ones. And I've just ordered them as replacement ones. When I say torturing, I've got a lovely little project going at the moment, which is an OTA sort of thing. And I'm just, flashing and flashing and flashing and reflashing the ESP32 that's been sitting upstairs being tortured for a couple of months now. And I've just got some replacements for the inevitable time when the EEPROM is toast. Let's have a look at this. And this is another module of some sort. It's not ESP32. Oh. What is that? We've got ground, 6 to 30 volts. Trigger, ground trigger. Normally open, common, normally closed. So there's a relay there. And we've got what looks like an opto coupler here. So presumably that means if I can trigger it here, that would mean that probably power comes in here. There's some other functions here. Stop, set, up, down. I think we should hook this one up. Oh, there's a micro USB there too. And probably, yeah, I'm guessing probably a transistor there. So optocoupler and transistor is a nice combo to keep this isolated from whatever's coming in on the other side. Let's get this connected up and see what on earth does this do. There's a bit going on with this module. It's complicated in the end. I would say probably a little over-engineered, but there are some good things about it as well. You can probably find the sort of timing that you're after with all of these different modes. When you press the set button, it'll tell you what mode it's in quickly, but it's in P1.1 and it's going to be on for 3 seconds when it's triggered. So we've got 12 volts coming in on this side, and you can share the power supply if you want, but I guess that defeats the point of this opto coupler here. So I've decided to split the rails up here. I've got 12 volts on this side. When this thing is fired, it is 20-ish volts, I think, for the big light. Yeah, 20-ish volts. It's just shut down because if there's no current drawn, this thing shuts itself down, which I guess is pretty cool as well. The trigger in this case, quite low voltages. I've got it set at 3.8. And so if I trigger that, it should turn the light on and count down for 3 seconds. And that's the simplest mode. So I guess the idea is that you flick a light on and it would turn on for that amount of time that you preset, and that's it. To change the timing, if you press and hold on that set key and then press again, it says, what OP time would you like? And it flashes, in this case, it's 3 seconds. And then you can go up and down using these keys. So I'll just set it back to 3 again. And it's 3 seconds. This digit here is minutes. This is seconds, and this is 0.1 of a second. But you can also change the decimal place. So if you press the stop key, you can see that all these decimal places flash, and then you can say, I want it to be all minutes. So you can set up to 999 minutes, or seconds, or point, or parts of a second. So down to quite fine timing, which is nice. And when you're done, you just press set, and then you're back into the normal mode again. So that gives you an indication of the sorts of numbers that you can get up with the timing, which is great. So the next mode, let's try 1.2. So to change the mode, you press and hold. That's right. You press and hold, and then you change the. Oh, let's try it again. Press and hold, and then change the mode. So that's 1.2, and then if we press and hold again, it should go back to. Yep. So the mode is now 1.2 with 3 seconds, and so that is triggering, and then re-triggering. I think. Oh, no, it's on then. Okay. So triggering. Oh, we're not on here. That's why. Sorry. This is going to keep cutting out while it's not in use. Let's try it again. So triggering. There we go. And then you can re-trigger some of these. I'm not quite sure what the difference is with that. Let's try again. Okay, that's just a normal countdown. Let's go back to 1.1. Oh, this is such fun. And we'll see if we can, I think one of them is a re-trigger mode. And that's why I said it's pretty overly complicated. So we're now back in P1.1, we trigger, and then, no, I'm not sure what the difference is between 1.1 and 1.2 in that regard. Let's go to 1.3 and see if that's a change. There is something to do with re-triggering some of these modes. That's 1.1, 1.2, let's go to 1.3. And it says, yep, that's fine. And all right, so now when I press that to see what mode we're in 1.3 and 3 seconds. Let's trigger. Aha, there you go. So that's the one that re-triggers. So trigger and stop, trigger and stop. By the way, you can stop at there is an emergency stop, and that's this guy here. It will also stop the whole thing. Allegedly, I mean, that light's still on. Oh, that's just stopping the actual relay from whatever position it's in. So that's not as useful as what you might imagine. So that should be on now. Yeah, there we go. And stop. So that's 1.3. If you're confused now, you should see how long it took me even just to turn the thing on. Let's now see what the next mode is. So if we click and hold for 2 seconds, there's 1.3. So 1.4. And it's again 3 seconds. Yep, that's fine. So let's get rid of that. And we'll just check to see if we're in 1.4 mode. We are for 3 seconds. And nothing's happening. Well, that's interesting. 1.4 mode, a bit of a dud. Can't hear the relay going at all. I'll just check to see that we're in the off mode and not the, here we go. Yeah, we're in the on mode, so it should be working. 1.4 mode, not really sure. Oh my Lord. Let's try, okay, 2.1. And just looking for 3 seconds. Oh, and then an off time. And I've set that at 2 seconds. So 3 seconds on, 2 seconds off. Let's see what that looks like. Hold for 2 seconds. And yep, 2.1, 3 and 2. Oh, and here we go. So it goes countdown for the 2 off, and then the 3 on, and reset. 2 off and 3 on. I guess you could find a use for that. Let's try the next mode. So let's go to 2.2, press and hold. And yep, that looks like pretty normal. So it's saying 3 and 2. Off, on. Looks the same as the last one. Maybe it's got something to do with the reset. Yeah, it does. Look at that. You can reset the off time. That's the difference there. I wonder if you can reset it at any time. Let's put the light on. Yes, you can. You reset the whole cycle by putting in that trigger voltage. Okay, pretty cool. All right, let's keep going. What's next? 2.2, 2.4, and 2.4 has an off time of 2, 2.4. It just says off time of 2. Interesting. All right. So no trigger required. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what that is about. 2.4 is useful as 1.4, I guess. I'll put a link to a manual here. There's some convoluted ones out there, so you're more than welcome to try and figure out where I've gone wrong here. Let's try 3.1. 3.1 has on time of 3 and off time of 2. Oh, and LOP is interesting. So how many times do you want to recycle it? So you can do the cycle 10 times, 100 times, or in this case, it's infinite time, which I'll leave there. So let's now just press, okay, that's going to be 3.1. And I'm going to put my power back on over here, which I've noticed has gone off. All right, let's try it. Yep, that's good. And we'll trigger. And away she goes. So it should, I think, go infinitely on for 3 and off for 2, which it does. Yeah, so that could be a very useful mode. Not obviously for 3 and 2 seconds, but I suppose it could be. But certainly some of the longer timings as well. For instance, if you're doing irrigation or what have you, you just want the pump to go on, you know, for 10 minutes every 6 hours or something like that, that would be a perfect thing for that. And can we trigger it off? Yeah, we can too, so that's nice. So we can also interrupt it and stop it at any time, which is pretty useful. All right, good. What's left? It's so exciting. 3.2. All right, so we've got, oh, we better make sure that we are in 3.2. So it says on time 3, and it just keeps flashing. Off time 2, and LOP, or infinite time at the moment. All right, so I've got to stop it. There we go. Okay, so it's just going without a trigger. Can we interrupt that? No, the trigger's irrelevant now. So your 3.2 is the same cycle, but no interruption possible. And I think there's even one more mode. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Let's try. Yeah, there's a P4. We'll see what that does. P4 and 3 seconds and off. Well, how that is different to 1.1, I don't know. Oh, the timing can be restarted at any time. Okay, that makes sense. Wow. All right, so that's quite a journey. I think it's a very useful timer. I think it probably needs someone to make a decent manual with lots of screenshots and lots of instructions in very plain English, because it's quite difficult to see what all these different modes are, and there's a lot of them. I think there's something like 8 or 9 different modes, plus the fact that you can do things like if I press and hold this, it comes up with CP, which I think means that after 5 minutes it will go to sleep. And if I press and hold that again, it comes up with OD, which means it goes back to normal mode. How you're supposed to know what that is, it's difficult to know. Useful little module, yeah, I think I'll probably find a use for that, particularly, as I said, maybe in something like the hothouse when you want to do periodic watering. That would be very useful. And the fact that it's all opto-isolated, so you can have an inductive load on here without any kickback, I think is pretty good as well. You can have its own power supply. You can do AC. Yeah, so I think this is a pretty good unit. I like it. Well, that's a nice rattle. Some sort of box inside here, by the look of it. Yep, there is a box. The box contains, connectors. Yeah, so I'm always running out of, losing, requiring more, giving away, all that sort of stuff. Connectors for breadboard, and so this is just a little kit that you can get for practically nothing, and all different shapes and sizes. So yeah, periodically, probably once every year or so, I'll buy one of these and then continue to lose them. I mean, actually, the thing is that a lot of these end up in prototypes, which are sort of lying around the place, so I can randomly pick up a breadboard somewhere, and there'll be heaps of these on there. But I wanted to leave it in that configuration because I'm not finished with the prototype, or I've still got some development work to do with it. So yeah, just some connectors. Nice.
That is the mailbag for the week, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.